We're going to be discussing using StrongDM to connect to SSH resources using a certificate authority. We have three options for SSH server configuration within StrongDM: public key, customer managed key, and certificate-based SSH. This presentation is specifically about certificate-based SSH resources within StrongDM. What is certificate-based SSH? By using a certificate authority managed by StrongDM, every SSH connection is secured with a short-lived private public key pair. This eliminates the risk of lost keys being compromised. Switching to SSH certificate authentication frees you from the burden of managing unique key pairs for each of your servers. Every organization in StrongDM is automatically assigned a unique certificate authority. You can find yours in Settings, Credentials Management, here. It is generated by StrongDM and can be rotated as desired. If the CA is rotated, all SSH sessions using the existing CA will be terminated. You will need to add the CA's public key as a trusted source on any hosts you want to access with this option. This demo will show how this is accomplished and largely follows the documentation. First, you will need access to your SSH server in order to add the trusted keys. SSH to the server as a user with root privileges. Now that I have access to the server, I'm going to create a file named etc ssh sdm_ca.pub and include the certificate authority values in Settings Credentials Management. I'm going to change the root user to create this file and paste in the CA. Copy to clipboard. I'm also going to change the permissions. I will now reference this file in sshd_config file by adding a line. This is the line here that references that file that I just created, sdm_ca.pub. Now that I've made these changes, I need to restart SSH. Now the CentOS server will connect from clients using the configured StrongDM CA. At this point, we can add a new SSH SDM resource. We will add that next. There are several ways to add an SSH Cert SDM resource. You can add one via the admin UI here. You can see I don't have any. You could add one via the command line, Terraform, or any of the SDKs. For the sake of this demonstration, I'll use the SDM admin command. I will also include what it looks like in Terraform a little later. I'm going to exit from root and make sure that I am logged in. You can see that I'm logged in, but I actually don't have any servers right now. So I'm going to add a command. Here it says add SSH Cert, that's the type. My username is CentOS. This is the host name. I am including some tags. Here's the port, and here's the name that I'm going to give it. Notice that there is no password configured in this SDM resource, nor is there a public key generated when you run this command like there would be for a public key SSH SDM resource. Now let's go to the admin UI and see if the new server is available. We see that it is now available and passes the health check since it uses the organization-wide CA that was shown earlier and is now configured on the SSH server. We should now be able to log in as a user and connect to that resource, assuming we have a role that matches the resource assigned to our user. Now let's use the admin UI to create a role that matches the SSH Cert type resources along with an env=AWS tag. For that, I'll go into Access, Roles. You notice I don't have any roles. So I will choose add role here, give it a name. Under this, I will go to access rules, add first access rule. I'm going to use a dynamic rule. We're going to use the SSH certificate-based type along with env=AWS. And you notice that it matches one SSH instance. Save and apply. I'm going to now create a new user for the sake of the demo. You can create an invitation in the admin UI as well. You can also use a simple Terraform to create this user, which I'll show later. Here is the user that I'm going to use. If I wanted another new user, I would choose Add User. The next step is to assign the user to the role. Go into Roles, select the role. Alternatively, you can use Terraform to create an account attachment to effect the same change. Now that I have a user with that role, let's log in and connect to that resource. You notice that I'm on a different machine now. I'm on a MacBook Pro. If I do an SDM status, I will see the server. Now I'll do an SDM SSH to that server. Now I'm logged in, just like that. That's all that it takes to get connected to an SDM SSH Cert type resource.